There, unmuted. All right. Hey, everyone. How you doing out there? If you can't tell by the comment section over there, I hit 1,000 tonight. Woohoo! Wow. Yeah. Oh, a long time coming. Now, we'll see how long that lasts, how long before YouTube goes and yanks 20 away from me. Oh, man, so excited about that. Oh, man. Oh, wow. Except busy day today. All right. So, yeah, all right. Yeah, okay, you can hear now. Yay, all right. Oh, man. Yeah. Today I was out doing some concrete work. Finished off all the bags of the concrete I had left over, plus the 3 extra I got when I took the pallets back. And I got some more of the running board, Mow strip, whatever you want to call it, of concrete on the one side next to where the new hothouse is going to go, poured. And so then I came in, I got all cleaned up and prettied up for her, and I go and hit 1,000. Woohoo! Now I just got to figure out what I have to do to confirm monetization with YouTube, and I already got some videos bookmarked that's going to tell me how to do that. So anyways, all right. There's going to be a major shout out tonight to somebody. Well, 2 major shout outs. The first one is Stringfield Ridge. They pushed me and got me over the 1,000 mark tonight. And then the other one is Old School Prepper, and she has played a big part in some of my novels here and doing editing for me. So, all right. So, what I'm talking about tonight is about the novels I've written. I'm going to switch this up here so you don't have to look at my ugly mug all the time. There we go. I'm small. All righty. And let's get over here. So novels, there we go. So these are just some of the novels that I'm getting ready to do stuff on here. I'm going to talk about these and some other ones that aren't on here that I've been working on, and some of them are complete. And so let's see. So what are my novels about? Well, just about all of my novels, and I didn't realize this till someone pointed it out to me. Evidently, I'm a romantic at heart. So even my action adventure, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, blow stuff up, have love stories in them. So all you tough guys, hey, suck it up and realize, hey, you can still be a softie at heart and still go bang, bang, shoot 'em up and everything else. Yeah, Kaylin, I have in the last year, I have 7,000 watch hours. The last 365 days. So I've been set on watch hours since February. It's just been trying to get the other stuff in. All right. So my novels are about, one of the things that my novels are about is teaching. They're teaching emergency preparedness and self-reliance and stuff like that via a medium that entertains. And so I'm going to talk about some of the novels here, and then I'm going to explain something, how I accidentally got into writing stories. So let's next one here. Boom. Okay, my big one right now I am working on, which has several books in it, including the one above me and the one below me here, is the Against the Wind saga. And it definitely has a lot of instruction on preparedness, things to do, things not to do as we go out through the different books. But I did a lot. The first book is basically getting ready for the big event and all the things they do and to get ready. And then all these subsequent books, the Family Compound series, the Scout and the Ninja, Paladin, Whiplash, and the others, all part of the Against the Wind saga world. They're separate lines of books, they're all in the same world, so they all have a lot of things to interact, which is really fun trying to keep everything straight. And so one of the things that even all the other books, they have 30 days to get ready for the event. And so what is the big event of Against the Wind Saga? Well, first of all, these are some of the books that I'm working on right now. These are the 6 books in the world of Against the Wind. There's Against the Wind, which is the main one, of which the one above me is book 2 in the series. Scout and the Ninja, Famicom, Paladin, Whiplash. Oh, Survival Mode was the one I forgot to talk about. And I just have on the last 3 I have outlines on. I actually had about 20 pages written for Paladin, and it went poof, when I was my old computer went on me, and I hadn't transferred it to a thumb drive yet, so I lost those 20 pages. But I know what's pretty much, and I got stuff going on that. So, yeah, Uncle Al, I would like to sell it to either Netflix or Disney or someone like that, Marvel Universe. Okay, so this is the first 2 books in the Against the Wind saga. The first one is just Against the Wind. The saga begins. And as you can tell, it's not actually a meteorite. What it is almost a planetoid. It's a very, very large asteroid that has come in from the Kuiper Belt, and it's on a flat trajectory, not an angled trajectory like a lot of the comets are. It's on a flat trajectory with the rest of the planets. So it is hidden by Jupiter and Saturn in their orbits from the Earth as it's coming in until it passes till it's coming out of the asteroid belt, and that's when they see it. And even it's a slow moving one from the asteroid belt. It's going to take a year for it to reach Earth, and so that's how the storyline goes on it. That's the disaster storyline, and so it winds up coming in. As it passes Mars, it gets caught in Mars' gravitational pull, and it turns a little bit, and it by turning it whips around and picks up speed, and it actually is going to arrive several weeks earlier than they first planned on. Throws everybody into panic mode that know about it, and so instead of arriving at the end of October, it's now called the mid-October event, and the information gets leaked out while the government's been trying to build these cargo container towns and rehab all the abandoned cities and towns, like near Detroit and stuff. A lot of the ones that have been abandoned over the years and stuff and fallen disrepair. They're trying to fix everything up so they can evacuate everybody from the coastline into the central country for this event, and then they can go back and try to rebuild if they want to, or they can stay where they're at. But the government's been working for a year trying to get everything ready, and then someone goes and spills the beans, and they don't quite have all of them ready, and everything's going on, and they're trying to fix it. What happens is, just as a clue, it doesn't hit the Earth, it doesn't hit the Moon. The Earth and the Moon are at such an angle here that it cuts between the 2 of them. As it passes by, as it gets nearer, they discover that it has either a heavy iron core or heavy metal core. It's not just a big pile of rock. It actually has a core on it and a significant gravity field. So it's coming in, and it pulls the Moon out of its orbit closer to the Earth. As it goes by the Earth, it causes tsunami waves in excess of 1,000 feet. And areas are just totally wiped out. It passes the biggest area to get where it pulls most of the water to is over the east of the Middle East, over Pakistan, Afghanistan, that area on that part of the world. As it rotates, the Earth rotates, it's right above that for several hours as it goes by. So it just sucks water everywhere. And then, of course, once it breaks away, all that water goes flashing back, and it's, it hits the United States with 1,700 foot tidal waves on the East Coast and 1,200 foot tidal waves on the West Coast. Most of the Mediterranean's wiped out. It goes through, and I took a topographical map of the world and marked how it's going to flow, how the tidal run-ups are going to be, being pulled in by it and then letting go. And yes, it's a devastating thing, but there's hope. And so that's what's going on there as far as the disaster scenario. The other scenario I'll get to in a little bit here, and I'll read a little bit from the first chapter of Against the Wind. On the, for a clue here, the title, the picture here of this book 2, that is Sarah Ahern, the secret girlfriend of the main character, Walt Rogers, who's the main character of the book series. Because she's secret because when they start dating, she's still in high school. She's 18, but she's still in high school. And he goes, whoa, no. We don't want, any problems. And he just got nominated by the former sheriff to run for sheriff in the sheriff's stead because the sheriff doesn't want to run anymore. So there's political intrigue in this too. Yeah, better not tell Steve. Yeah, LA doesn't get wiped out by the tidal waves. LA gets wiped out because not only is the water flowing around, but the magma under the earth is pulled by the gravitational force as well. And the Long Valley caldera at the north end of Death Valley is now an active volcano again. And not only that, it goes on down, and Mount, I just lost it. The one in Los Angeles, down outside of Los Angeles, that the observatory is up on. Basically, all the lava goes, it drops. Yeah, and now the Los Angeles basin becomes a big cauldron pit. But that's all some of the fun stuff that goes on. Anyways, getting back to, Sarah and Walt have a hidden relationship, trying to keep it hidden from the political evil guys that would try to keep him from being sheriff. One of the guys, Marston, is a bad guy throughout several of the books. Anyway, so that's the gist of the Against the Wind saga. Disaster is the asteroid coming by. However, within that book, Sheriff Rogers has written several other novels that he inherited his ranch from his uncle who passed away in the beginning of the book. And he finds out that his uncle had written a whole bunch of novels, Western novels, survival novels, detective novels, and he's been editing them and going through them and releasing them. Well, these 3 books here listed, Blood Moon Falling, The Dying Winter, and Tawaki Time, are released 6 months before they know about the asteroid. Well, guess what the main theory of these books is? Almost the exact same thing. And so he's suddenly looked upon as, oh, he knew it was coming. He wrote all about it and all this other fun stuff. So, but Blood Moon Falling is almost done. I've got probably 2 more chapters to do on it before it's done and ready to go. Book 1, let me go back up here one. Against the Wind book 1 is done. Martha at Old School Prepper has edited it for me. Against the Wind book 2, I'm on page, hang on here. I'm on page 197. And so it's about 2/3 done. And I've just been ripping along on that one here lately. Go down here. Okay. Scout and the Ninja series. It's the Scout and Ninja series book 1 is done. I'm just starting on book 2. Book one's been edited. Has to do with an Eagle Scout who's also an adventure crew and has the Silver Award, which is equivalent to an Eagle Scout but for adventure crew as well, and everything. He's into archery and everything, and he's had a crush on this other archer who shoots historic bows. And I'm going to butcher the name, so I'm not going to say it, but the Japanese bow they shoot from horseback. She shoots that, and they've had a crush on each other for several years. But all their friends keep telling, "Oh, he doesn't like girls who are come up and ask out. He thinks he's kind of old school on his thinking," and which he was not really. And he was told that she has a boyfriend, a steady boyfriend, which she doesn't. And so the rumor mill has kept them apart until after the news comes out on this. No, I haven't published them yet. I want to get 10 of them totally done and edited, and then I will be publish them one book a month on Amazon. But right now, I'm going to give away, tell you guys how you guys can get some of these books for free. It's going to be a PDF version that's locked, so you can't change or print or copy anything on it. But hey, you're getting it for free. So anyway, so they wind up, this is the real tough love affair, guys. This is almost a Romeo and Juliet type love affair, except that there's no bad ending to it. But basically, their story through this thing is that they want to get married. They're both 17, but they want to wait until they're 19 before they get married. Yet they're trying to save their families and stuff and get everything prepared. And it's just so, guys, I don't care how tough you are. There's a couple things in the first book here that are going to make you guys cry. All right. So yeah, this love story here and this one here is a tearjerker. And I got myself, I'm crying, I'm writing. It's like, oh, you idiot, why are you writing that? But yeah, it's good, it works, and I love that one. Family Compound series deals with two different groups that wind up coming together and working on it. This book has been is done. It's partially edited. I got someone started to edit it for me, and then he got COVID, and I'm not sure if he passed away or not, but I haven't got. There's no response to the email, nothing to him. This is Michelle. This is all fiction with fact-based, basically science-based facts within it. All the stuff about the asteroid I've pulled from some guys I know at NASA and stuff, and they've been feeding me information. And in the Blood Moon Falling, I pumped all the information in that. It's all laid out. I mean, it's detailed information and stuff. It's almost boring at points in that one because it's got so much detailed information on it. So, yeah, but there's a lot of facts-based science in here on it. And so, yeah, these guys is a real interesting one here. I'm not going to get too much into that one. It's kind of neat. All right, here's another shout out. Martha, old school prepper, has been editing my novel. She's been doing a great job. And so you guys aren't subscribed to her, check her channel out. And you notice I got her icon up here, and there she is in the chat. Check her channel out. She's got some good stuff, and she's been doing some really good videos lately on her garden and stuff. And she's also up there in Oregon with all the smoke and nastiness. So yeah, it's sort of historical fiction. It's what could be, because some of the, hey, the Earth has been hit by asteroids before, big ones. It's had close calls before. There's some big ones that have hit the moon. It's just a possibility of what could happen. Now, let's see. Go to the next one here. Next. Okay. Paladin is also from in the series in the Against the World saga. It has to deal with a young man that was helps some friends out and stuff, and got in the middle of a problem between the friends and a gang, and a drug dealing gang, and they shot him up with a whole bunch of mixture of funky drugs and stuff. And it's in his recovery, and stuff on it. All this happens while he's in a hospital, and they're giving him some drugs to try to counteract the drugs he has, and stuff goes kind of wonky. And that's all I'm going to talk about that one until I get it done. I got a lot of work to do on that one still. So I got an outline for it, but things change as I work. Sarah above me here was not supposed to be a main character. She was just supposed to be a slight love interest, and not really become a love interest. In my writing, her character developed and grew so much. It's like, it ran away from me and I couldn't control her. So, hey, kind of reminds me of my wife. Other books I'm doing that are not part of the series and stuff. Mythlore, where magic and science merge. I've been working on that one since 1999, before Y2K. A good friend of mine, Dave Cabral, and I were working at the Bank of America data center. We were taking care of the upgrading, doing all their Y2K preparedness for their data center, their big data center in Concord, which has 7 buildings involved in it. So we were working on that thing, and so we'd be there at night sometimes, waiting for supplies to come in, so we'd do it, and we worked on that. Once a Hero, and I'm going to talk about Mythlore here a little bit. I got some slides on Mythlore here for you guys. Once a Hero is one I started working on 1986. I was in the police academy, and one of my good friends in the police academy gave me a book called Total War by Jerry Ahern, and I fell in love with it. And I've read several of his books. Had read several of them, and I said, I can do this. I can write this, and I started working on Once a Hero. And then I lost everything I'd written on. It was written on an older computer, and it crashed. I had stuff on floppies, and I couldn't get to it. Well, a few years back, a friend of mine, when I was at DHS, said, bring me the floppies. He went in, he was able to pull it out, take it from whatever the word processing program was at time back in the late 80s, and converted it into Word, Microsoft Word. And so, but that, so I haven't really messed with that much at all. That's another one. Even before that, my cousin's son, my nephew, and his friends and I used to play a game called BattleTech, a role-playing game. There's BattleTech, which was moving around the miniature mechs, which are 20 to 100-ton robotic things that has a pilot in there. And Mech Warrior came out a little bit later, where you develop characters. And when I started writing down all of our games and the things we did, 3 titles have copyright issues. What 3 ones have copyright issues? I own copyright. I copyrighted these long time ago. As soon as I started it, I copyrighted the titles. And besides that, you can copyright titles. People can still come up with another book with the same title. All right. Yeah, backup to backups, Anthony. Yeah. Anyways, so on the BattleTech one, it was just started out as our stuff, and I'll talk in a little bit. Pilgrim is a scientific one in the future. Has to do with a plague hitting the earth in 2485, I think it is, and the downfall of society and how things are coming back. One Tin Soldier is similar, on the similar vein of Pilgrim, only in a different part of the world. Swashbuckler is sort of a Zorro type character, and the Great Catastrophe Cycle has to do with, it's going to be a lot of science-based, and has to deal with solar flares that actually have impacted the Earth in the past and will impact it again. Yeah, now I have copies on 2 different computers, and I have my 2 terabyte external hard drive I back stuff up on. Hey, 2P. Hey, Liberty Garden. So that's the other books I'm working on, but let me go on here. See. Okay, Once a Hero. I've so it's has to deal with basically Once a Hero deals with a certain radical religious group that have been taking over countries one at a time in the world, and detonate several nuclear warheads on U.S. soil in the midst of the time where the U.S. has a secret project called Brimstone, which is which the plan is to use their religious beliefs against them to discredit them, and they're dragging some asteroids in the asteroid belt back, and it's going to be kind of interesting in that. But it's definitely a hardcore survival novel. No love, not really a love story in that, just a good friendship one. Mythlore, where magic and science merge. Does anybody out there like The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings? Give you guys a second. So The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. Basically, the premise of Mythlore has to do with 870,000 years in the past, and has to deal with elves, trolls, all other, and science. Let me go on to the next page here. I'm going to, come on, there we go. Okay, there we go. This is the, too far, too fast. It's going, acting up, back up one. These 2 slides act up because there's a lot. I mean, these slides are big data slides. This picture was created in Visio drafting, and I can zoom in. This is the big picture, and I can zoom in tiny on it. This is the one continent of Earth at the time, and it's zoomed in here. And so you got you got the Everine Forest with elves in it. You got the Ent Forest. You got this realm of elves up here. You got the Northern Snow Elves, the Southern Snow Elves, the Sea Elves. You got the clans, which are sort of like the Celtic clans down here. You have this area surrounded by really steep cliffs, which has only one way in, and all sorts of weird creatures in here. Dinosaurs. Spoiler alert, that are trapped in there. You got the evildoer down here, who happens to be the great grandfather of Saruman, some of the other baddies. And you got all sorts of different ones around. You got good witches, bad witches, and just where is it? Books. Let me find it just a second here. I got to show you. I'm going to pull this up here. Good guys, bad guys. Okay. Bring this up. Put this over here. So basically, a little cheater on this one. You have good guys: high elves, mountain elves, sea elves, snow elves, wood elves, mountain dwarves, wood dwarves, burrow hobbits, farming hobbits, river hobbits. Cave gnomes are really good guys. River gnomes are sort of getting to the neutral side here. The Amazons, the clansmen, the farmers, the foresters, the herders, silver dragons, white dragons, wizards, sorcerers, and ents, and giants. The neutral characters are cave leprechauns, which are leaning towards the brook fairies, forest fairies, meadow fairies, snow fairies. You have vampires, which are kind of neutral, and they're not the evil vampires you know of today. You have red dragons, stone dragons. You have magically you have bards, mages, which are kind of neutral. You have cyclopses, which are leaning kind of towards the bad because everybody picks on them. You have gargoyles and chimeras. And your bad guys are orcs, korgs, mountain korgs, river leprechauns, hobgoblins, goblins, green dragons, black dragons, warlocks, witches, manticores, trolls, day trolls, and ogres. And like I said, I've been working on this one since 1999. And it's coming. Oh, you caught spreadsheet? Yeah, spreadsheet. Mythlore. Where is it here? Details. Pull it up here. Got timeline locator. Is that the one? I think this is the one. And that's a spreadsheet for, right, so this is a spreadsheet for Mythlore. And I list the first name, last name, classification to person, what they are. Oh, there's some SEAL team members in here. Comes on down. All the ones that went back in time. Yes, they went back in time on a spaceship that had a problem. These are all the characters. I'm down to row 200 now. Okay, that's the humans. And then non-human tracking of all the dwarves, dragons, changelings, elves, hobgoblins. So I got 71 there. I'm just starting on counting the bad guys. Then I got one for tracking timelines of the chapters and stuff. Yeah. This is how I'm tracking the characters in Against the Wind. Yeah, I got a lot of characters to track in there. Yeah, like I said, this is written along the lines, and I've tried to. When I'm writing this, I go back and I reread Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit so I can pick up Tolkien's writing style and try to mimic it a little bit, as if what he was copying. He was copying some ancient texts. This one's really cool. What happens? But I'll talk about that in a minute. Battletech, the one I'm talking about, was from the role-playing game, and that one has got the outline for 2 books. One book is halfway written on it. There's actually, for Battletech, a whole series of books by about 20 different authors, and they usually write 10 or 12 books for the series, and they're all linked together. Michael J. Stackpole is one of the main writers for it. He wrote some of the originals, Natural Selection, Risk of Assumption, Blood Legacy. Yeah, Michael J. Stackpole. He's on here a lot. Malice Intent. He was one of the major writers that they hired to write it. And so let me kill that. Escape. And I'm going to read. So guys, you got yourself a choice. I can either read the beginning of Mythlore to you, which isn't quite finished yet, or I can read a little bit of Against the Wind to you, the beginning of it. So guys, I'll give you a few seconds to take your pick. Against the Wind or Mythlore. I'm waiting for the comments to pop up here to see which one you want me to do a little bit of reading from. When I was writing Mythlore, working with Dave Cabral, he was helping me to write it as if it were to be a movie script originally. Okay, I got 2 against the wind, 1 myth against the wind, 3 to 1. All right, looks like we only got 3 to 1 here. So let me go over here and pull up this one here. Go back to books. Against the Wind Saga. Against the Wind. Against the Wind, book 1. Okay. Back to the beginning. Let me, okay. There's the beginning for about the author. Tells about me growing up born in Glendale, California, moved to Martinez, California, back around, bounced here, there, all the things I've done. Edited by Martha, YouTube channel, Old School Prepper. Okay, so let me do it this way here. So that's going to be kind of hard for you guys to see it over there anyways. So I'm going to bring it over here in front of me and get it down here to the right size where I can read it. And then I will start reading it. All right, so Against the Wind. Hang on here. I don't want to totally block off the chat there. Maccabeus, off-grid and everyday survival. How we doing? United we stand. Hey. All right, so Against the Wind, prologue. The Making of a Man. The rider on the horse straightened his legs as he stretched against the stiffness in his lower back. He looked into the setting sun and sighed. He sat back down in the saddle with a soft groan of resignation and drooped his head towards his chest. The brim of his off-white Stetson hat cast a shadow across his face. Dewey Johnson had been following the rider in one of the ranch's jeeps for the last 3 hours as he rode across the 150,000-plus acre ranch that the rider had just inherited. "Mr. Rogers," Dewey called out. "It's almost sunset, sir, and you need to sign the documents before the sun sets if you are to receive everything your uncle left you." The rider wheeled the horse around smoothly and guided him up to the jeep. "Let me have it," he said as he leaned down from the horse's back and took the documents, which were bound in the blue binding that legal papers always seemed to be in. The exasperation heavy in his voice as the last of his resignation, as his resistance slipped away to do what he did not care for, accepting that his Uncle Dan was gone forever. He was now in charge of the business. All the responsibilities that Uncle had were now his. Taking the stainless steel ballpoint pen from his pocket with his right hand and placing the documents on his saddle horn, he brought the pen to the line where he was supposed to sign. He paused and sighed deeply again, then signed his name to the document which gave him ownership of all these lands, Walt Rogers, and shoved the papers back at Dewey Johnson, attorney for his uncle's estate. He slipped the pen back into his shirt pocket and wheeled the horse back towards the setting sun and guided it back to where they were before, under the overhanging branches of the large oak tree. Dewey folded up the document and placed it in the briefcase on the seat next to him in the Jeep, and looked up at the rider and said, "You know, Mr. Rogers, when I was a little boy, I used to visit my grandfather, and he and I would watch old westerns together. And looking at you now, sir, reminds me of one of his favorites." "Which one?" Walt asked, as he slowly shook his head, pretty sure he knew the answer. Dewey smiled. "It was one starring John Wayne called Chisholm." "Yeah, my uncle liked that one too." Walt sat up straighter in the saddle. "You better head back now before it gets too dark. It's easy to get lost out here if you don't know your way around." It's probably a stupid question, Dewey said, but are you going to be okay out here by yourself? Oh, yeah, Walt answered him, with the first hint of warmth in his voice that Dewey had heard all day. I know these hills better than anyone else alive. He sighed again. After all, this is where I grew up. Dewey nodded silently, started the Jeep, backed it up to turn it around, and then headed off to the ranch house. As he drove off into the darkening twilight, his headlights cast faint balls bouncing across the landscape. September. Walt stood at the door of his Uncle Dan's study looking out to the grand hall of the ranch house. All the relatives were gathered there. The clock was striking 8 o'clock, and there was a small fire in the massive double-sided fireplace that captivated the children, while adults were gathered in small groups throughout the room. His uncle had left everyone something. For some, it was less than what they had expected. For others, it was much more, including himself. His uncle did not have any children of his own, and Walt spent most of his childhood here on his uncle's ranch. While Walt's dad, Mark, in one way was the opposite of Dan, that being Dan was a rancher and Mark was a big-time lawyer, they were so much alike-minded politically and philosophically. The two of them were close enough to each other, and Mark trusted Dan so much that he let Walt spend every summer with Dan since he was 7. Then, when Walt was 14, he was allowed to move full-time to the ranch for all of his high school years. Mark and Dan, although close, always had a hard time carrying on casual conversations about everything except 3 things: emergency preparedness, the decline of social fabric, and Walt. Okay, so that's all I'm going to read of that one right now. And it goes on into what he gets and stuff. But I'm going to skip ahead here and read you one other little thing here. Past all the stuff that night. That next page. Where was it here? Did I pass it? Okay. 2 days later, everyone but Walt's grandparents had left, including his mom and dad, who had to get back to their jobs. Mark was a senior law partner, had offices in Seattle, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York. He was in charge of the Seattle office. His mother, Mary, was a professor at the University of Washington in the horticulture department. That's just going to get too hard here. Basically, he winds up reading through all the documents his uncle left him, and he's talking out loud and about stuff, and then the sheriff walks in. The sheriff had used Dan to track down bad guys that had gone out into the forest and wilderness area and stuff, and Walt had gone with them and had been trained by his uncle to be one of the best trackers in the area. And so he was asked to go help track them. He and one of the deputies, Jason Redhawk, go out, catch the 3 bank robbers, bring them back, turn them over to the FBI, and everything goes south. To get away from the FBI, start shooting up the town. Walt has to kill the 3 bad guys, just as a Homeland Security unit rolls up who are chasing the bad guys because they had ties to a money laundering scheme for a terrorist organization. So that takes care of that one. So let me, that was up there. Okay, I didn't need that up there. But there are some really things, I really liked the way some of these stories go. I've gotten a lot of suggestions from a lot of people, and I've been able to incorporate those suggestions into the storyline. Actually, it's only that time. I'm going to give you a special treat here. Let me pop this other one back up here. See if I can get this right. Where is it here? That one there. All right, bring that one down. Mythlore. Actually, I'll let you guys see the beginning of this here. A saga through physics and time, and where magic and science merge. First time I copyrighted this was 2005. And my acknowledgments to people, my buddy Dave Cabral, my nephew John, who's known as Mortis in all the role-playing games, John Smith, and our good friend Michael Candyman Montoya, who helped me do a lot of stuff on it. Oh, and my friend Tommy Alara, who used to make me, when I worked for construction, used to make me these most awesome salsa. You take a bite of it, you go, oh, yum, this is so good. Then you're all of a sudden, your chest will start burning. You start sweating profusely. You'd be looking around for a glass of milk, and you couldn't help it. You take another bite of the salsa. Okay, so let me bring this over here so I can see it really and read it here to you. Actually, I'll go ahead and lead it over here if anybody wants to read along with it. Let me see if I can get this set up to a larger font size here. All right, chapter 1. No, you're not going to be able to see it. Let me go this way here. Is that going to bring it up? Yeah, to the stars. Okay. And so after we'd gathered our supplies, we began our journey to our new home. Quote by a Western pioneer. Good morning, June. Tim Nichols smiled at his co-host, June Albright. Good morning, Tim, she replied. They both turned to the video camera, and he continued, and good morning to you, America. On this, the 5th day of September, 2089 AD. Well, June, this is going to be quite a day. Yes, it is, Tim, and that's the way they speak, guys. They actually speak like you want to slap them silly. Yes, it is, Tim. Today, the spaceship Intrepid and her crew make the historic journey by traveling to Alpha Centauri to begin colonizing the 4th planet dubbed New Terra. June flashed her phony smile, trying to hide the fact that she was freezing. To cover this historic event, we are aboard the OANN space station with its bird-eye view of the Ronald Reagan Orbital Shipyard and the Starship Intrepid. Yes, it is a wonderful view, and it will give us a spectacular show when the Intrepid launches into history, June practically sang. This is an endeavor that has been 9 years in the making. It started when the development of the Dimensional Interlinking Vortex Energizer, or Drive, Tim chuckled. Oh, that's a good one, Tim, June said with her nasally snorting giggle that just made you want to wrap her upside the head. Thank you, June, he smiled, so full of himself that you felt like puking. Yet for some unknown reason, these two were the hottest news show hosts in the world. Now, correct me, Tim. Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't there been 3 unmanned trips to Alpha Centauri made by a drone ship already? Once again, you're right, June. The unmanned starship Lewis and Clark has made 3 trips so far to drop off probes and scan that solar system. Everything looks just perfect for mankind to come and put down some roots. Okay, so while those two are talking, those two are comic relief for the beginning of it, and later on as well. Talk about everything going on. So the spaceship Intrepid is going to be going to Alpha Centauri, carrying a large crew of people. You saw most of them. I had it that spreadsheet there. Now we get back down here to another something a little bit more serious here, guys. William Anderson looked out the viewport at the Intrepid as the shuttle he was in made its final approach. He marveled at the ship, which was a long hexagonal shape over 1,600 feet long and 260 feet across. Traversing nearly the entire length of the ship, in the center was the engine core, which would move the ship through cross-dimensional hyperspace. Around the core were various cargo holds, personal quarters, science labs, docking stations for the landing craft. The control center was located in a tower that protruded from the midway point along the ship, and he goes on and describes it. Basically, he's in charge of security. He's head of the Navy SEAL team assigned to the ship. What happens is there's a group called God's Own, religious terrorists, who wind up trying to detonate an atomic device near it at the same time that the ship goes into dimensional space, causing a malfunction where it doesn't go, instead of going through creating a wormhole through space, it creates a wormhole through time. And they wind up 890,000 years in the past. And so I hopefully will be able to have this one done by next Thanksgiving. That's my, not this Thanksgiving, next Thanksgiving. That's my goal, to have Mythlore done, is by next Thanksgiving. But there's all sorts of cool things. They get to this, they get to the Earth is a molten, boiling, volcanic pot boiling. Everything's going up. And where the asteroid belt is, there's no asteroid belt. There's another planet there. And that's the planet I showed you on those maps that has one continent on it. And turns out that is actually Earth in the wrong orbit. And the molten planet later on, and as the storyline goes, winds up, they wind up, something comes through, another large body comes through, and they wind up switching orbits. And the other one gets hit and becomes the asteroid belt, and Earth then winds up in its proper orbit. But it's really cool, some of the science based on it, and it's oh, where is that? Get that back up there. So yeah, that's where this map here is of Mythlore, of the only body. And they got dragons living out here on this island out here, and there's all sorts of fun stuff going on. So, but if anybody wants one of the books that are complete, which are the books that are complete are The Scout and the Ninja, Book 1, which is this one here, A Scout is Trustworthy. Book 1, Against the Wind, the saga begins. The Family Compound series, Hunker Down, which is done. Those 3 books are done. If you want a PDF copy of one of those books, down below in the description at the very bottom is the Camppatton Family Compound email. Send me an email requesting which one of those books you want, and I will send you a free copy for you to have on your computer. So Dustin's listening at work. Cool. So, so just be warned, guys and gals. A Scout is Trustworthy. It has a big love story throughout the other one. The love story in Against the Wind is not quite so intense, but it, as far as being tearjerker, but it is very intense. Just ask Martha, old school prepper. She did the editing on it. And then Hunker Down is more basic, simplistic. One group has a family farm that the kids want to update into an emergency preparedness thing, and they go to see this expert who does classes and stuff and everything else, and he goes out, hires out, and goes out and reviews things. And when they're meeting with him is when the news breaks about the thing, and he tells them, all right, get this, I'm out of here. And they wind up running into each other later. So, so like I said, if you want, okay, what do you got here? Let me check one thing real quick. Okay. All right. So, on the 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 subject line of the email to get a novel, just put in Against the Wind as the subject line. And that way I'll know you want one of the books. And then down below, whether you want the Against the Wind, the Scout and the Scout and the Ninja, or the Family Compound series. You go down here, and so yeah, so Against the Wind, Scout, the Scout and the Ninja, or the Family Compound series. Alrighty, and I hope those of you that get it, I hope you like it. I'm open to constructive criticism. In Scouts, we called it feedback. Actually, no, they're not, Kaylin, because I've actually downloaded on several of these to my Kindle. I basically emailed it to myself and downloaded it onto my Kindle. So let me tell you exactly how big these are here. Hang on. Back here, books. I can tell you exactly what size these are. Okay, so Against the Wind. The Against the Wind is 1,582 kilobytes for the Against the Wind. Let me go back and check on Scout and the Ninja. Scout and the Ninja is 2,500 kilobytes. Yeah, I went overboard on the first book on that one. Family Compound. Family Compound is 611 kilobytes for the Family Compound. Well, Lisa, for them going on to, the format is PDF. Lisa, for these being on Amazon, basically I have to finish. I'm not going to publish any till I have 10 books done. I have 3 that are totally completed, edited. I've got, let's see here. Book 2 is two-thirds, half to 2/3 of the way done. I've a quarter of the way done on this one. I got 1 chapter to book 2 of the Family Compound. Once a Hero is 7/8 of the way done. Mythlore, because of what I'm doing in Mythlore, Mythlore, I'm actually doing some real heavy-duty translating in it. I'll actually use ancient Celtic language in there, and then give you the translation underneath it. So you see what the elves are speaking, ancient Celtic, and it has the. So I actually have to. I've been really had a friend of mine who spoke Celtic and was helping me on it, and gave me ways to find some ancient Celtic as well. So that one's not going to be done until next Thanksgiving. I'm probably thinking that next Thanksgiving 2021 is when when I'll be able to start releasing these on Amazon. Unless things go great this winter and I'm able to hit and the creative juices are flowing and I'm able to pound out 10 pages a day like I did last year on one of the books. And so, yeah, if I can get 10 pages a day every day, there's a book in a month. So, and I got the outlines for most of these out for way out there. Let me show you that. This is going to blow your socks off. Where is it here? Ah, it's not there. Hang on. Let me see if I can find it again real quick here. Okay, Saga. I don't need that one up there. There we go. So let me enlarge this a little bit. So I have the titles for Against the Wind. I got titles for 25 books and the outline for 25 books done already. Scout and the Ninja, same thing. I got the title for, large it up here, 25 books, and the outline is done for 25 books, the general outline. I have the outline done for 15 of the books, but only several titles. I've been throwing them around here for Family Compound. Paladin, I got the outline for the first 5 books done and throwing some titles around, some little things. Whiplash, I got the outline done for the first 3 books and several titles thrown in there. Survival Mode, I got the outline for the first 20 books and several of the titles picked out already. So I have the outline, which tells me in general where the storyline is going to go. It's filling in everything in between that makes it hard. And in filling it in, I have to make it interesting for you guys. Yeah, I can put all the stuff in there, about how to do this, how to do that, and everything else. That gets boring. And I can just, I can throw some deadpan characters in there, and it gets boring too. I like to, trying to make it interesting enough where you get involved in the characters, where the characters have depth, and you're rooting for some of them, and others you just want to go and rip their eyeballs out. So, yeah. So, and one final thing before I go here, let me go ahead, take that down, take that down, take that down. Go ahead and close that one. Close that one. I'm going to read one small section here from I'm working on right now. And where is it here? Okay, headings, find it that way. Where is it here? Come on. All right, let me search it this way here. Marshal Service, no. Chief Marshal, no. Okay, M1. Okay, here we go. Is that the first one? 28, yes. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm going to read this one here. Oh, and just in case you're wondering, my background, this is Walt Rogers, and this is Sarah. I found a picture. I used them as inspiration. Okay, so final thing here. All right, this is in the book, October 28th, 7th full day after the passing of the asteroid, the dream. Sarah eyed the 7 men facing her with unusual calm, such as she had never experienced before. Her right hand hung onto the horn of the saddle resting on her right shoulder. Her left hand was limped at her left side. Harrison Marston stood in the middle of the group, laughing softly and shaking his head slightly. "What are you going to do?" he gestured out with his right hand as he continued. "That old pistol of yours only has 6 shots, and there are 7 of us. All you'll accomplish is to get yourself dead." Sarah shifted her weight slightly to her right foot and picked up her left foot. "I used to watch an old movie with my dad, and there was this one line from it that seems really appropriate now. As she spoke, she slid her left foot behind her right knee and caught the leading edge of her duster with a spur and pulled it back around her and brought it up to her left hand. The main character was facing off against a bunch of bad guys that just tried to kill his idol, Jack Beauregard, with a bomb. Anyway, he told them that Jack could draw and shoot his revolver 3 times before the other guy could draw even once. Sarah took hold of the corner of the duster as she lowered her left foot back down to the ground and brought the corner of the duster up and tucked it into her gun belt and then slid it back, catching the left side of the duster with it to expose a second revolver in a cross-draw fashion. Harrison Marston's laughter stopped and his smile faded away as his eyes focused on the second gun. He then realized her resolve not to back down. There are still more of us than you, and you're not fast enough to get more than one of us before we kill you. Before Sarah could utter a response, one of Marston's men spoke up with a quivering voice. Boss, I think she's fast enough to get most of us. Bullshit. She's just a girly. Sarah didn't realize that she had made the decision to draw until she heard the first shot. Her right hand let go of the saddle horn, dropped with unearthly speed to the ball and cap revolver hanging in the Western-style quick-draw holster at her side. Her thumb caught the hammer of the revolver and cocked it as she drew the revolver from the holster using her thumb only. The old-style revolver rolled up in firing position as her last 3 fingers wrapped around the smooth wooden butt grips, and her index finger squeezed and held the trigger. The first bullet caught Marston in the Adam's apple and blew out 2 vertebrae from his neck as it exited. Sarah's left hand flashed across, fanning the hammer of the pistol, sending a bullet to each of the heads of the 3 men standing to the right of Marston's still standing body before anyone had a chance to move. The saddle was now starting to slip from Sarah's shoulder, so she tossed the revolver to the left where her left hand wrapped around the butt as the thumb rolled over the hammer and cocked it. Her finger tightened on the trigger, sending a 5th bullet flying into the groin of the man on the far left of Marston, now falling body, as her right hand grabbed the saddle horn of the saddle and pulled it back up on her shoulder. The man next to Marston was bringing up the barrel of his M16 as Sarah thumbed the hammer back and snapped off the last shot of the old ball and cap revolver. As much as she had practiced shooting left-hand, it was still awkward cocking the single-action revolver, and as such, threw her aim off to the left. As fate would have it, this was a good thing. Instead of hitting the man in center mass, the bullet hit his right arm and shattered the bone, causing him to lose grip on his weapon. The M16 fired a 3-round burst in Sarah's general direction, the first hitting the ground in front of her left boot. The second went further to its right as the gun climbed from the momentum and the recoil, and the bullet passed several inches to the side of her knee. The third bullet was even farther away from Sarah as her right hand, once again in motion, drew the other revolver from the cross-draw holster. This was a modern reproduction of a Colt 36 caliber Navy revolver chambered for .357 in double action. As the last man was the one who told Marston she thought Sarah was fast enough to take most of them. His fear had caused him to hesitate. She fired 2 shots at him, one hitting him in each shoulder joint, making his arms useless. Sarah spun the revolver and quickly placed it back in the holster and reached up and grabbed the saddle horn before it slipped completely from her shoulder. As she started walking back towards Marston's life-ebbing body, she reached across her body and dropped the old ball and cap into the holster hanging from her right hip. She stooped when she was standing over Marston and gave his head a nudge with the toe of her boot. His eyes came open in a shocked stare. I got all 7 of you, and I have two of your men wounded and still alive to question. Your spine has been severed, so that's why you can't move. And you are slowly drowning in your own blood. She smiled wickedly at him. And that group you sent to take out Walt and the DHS agents, well, they ran into a Marine sniper team I'd warned, and they took them out while they were setting up their attack. There were no survivors. Neither were there any survivors of the 2 groups you sent to Walt's ranch to take out his family. So you see, all of your perverted plans have been stopped. And just to make sure, I'll be questioning 2 men that I wounded here. Sarah pulled out a fish fillet knife. And when I start cutting off things they really want, they will tell me everything. Then I will go after your family and friends just to make sure I got all the information I need. Marston's eyes widened in fear and surprise as he tried to say no without any success. Then I will take all their weapons away from them and let everyone know that they are defenseless. I'm sure there are more than a few of those you have stepped on who would love to pay them a visit. Sarah spat in Marston's face and turned and walked over to the 2 wounded men. Who wants to play what? Let's make a deal, she said with an evil grin that sent chills down the 2 wounded men's spines. Okay, so that was an excerpt from book 2 of Against the Wind. Like I said, Sarah came into it. I mean, her character was supposed to be just this little background character, supporting role, and she has evolved into Walt's right-hand mate and partner in life. And so it's she's really cool. I mean, you know, as I'm writing it, stuff comes out that I'm not even thinking about, and it's just like, wow, where'd that come from? And it's really cool. Anyways, so once again, if you want PDF copies of the 3 books, let me throw it back up there again one more time. That will be the first 3 books here. Let me make that large. Against the Wind, Scout and the Ninja, and the Family Compound. The first 3 books of those series. I mean, the first book of each of those series. If you want a copy of one of those, send me an email and let me know which one you want. Alrighty. And as final thing here, to see if I got it up here. Things got out of order here. I can't find it. Dang it. Future topics. There we go. This one back up here. So just so you guys know what's coming up here. We have, all right, so I've covered the first 2 here. This coming Tuesday is going to be 12-volt power hacks, getting you by in a pinch. Next Friday is going to be skipped. We're going to move it to Saturday for my birthday. Having a birthday special on Saturday. And I'll be sending out a heads up Saturday morning on that. A heads up video. Then the following Tuesday, why should we pair? Is it worth the bother? And this is a response to a video that I saw put out by a left-wing nut that was really slamming preppers and homesteaders. The following Friday, October 2nd, is going to be personal hygiene. And then the following Tuesday is generators versus solar generators, or as Reed and I like to say, solar battery banks. It's not really a generator, it's a battery bank. And then we'll have the first talk, and then on Friday, October 9th, we'll talk about the first holiday of fall. And then we got talking about keeping it simple, Survivor, talking about how things, simple things can really make a difference. Friday, October 16th is open. If anybody has a suggestion for a topic, I'd love to have them. You can just email it to me. Remember, the email's down below at the very bottom of the description. Tuesday, October 20th, we're going to talk about freezing temps, how unusual cold can wipe out your preps. And then from then on, we're open on topics. So if anybody has any topics they'd like to discuss, email them to me. You know, I'd like to have some of your, be able to do some of your guys' ideas here. So with that, I would just like to say to everybody, stay happy, stay prepared, and I'll see you in the next video.